Evolution trailers, and Game Over Jesse joins us to discuss all things Legend of Zelda. Plus your questions and so much more. Zach, cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is October the 5th, 2016. Joining me tonight as I totally turned down the wrong knob, which is why it took so long. Anyways, Justin Masson. What's going on, Justin?
I am not the wrong knob that you need to turn down, sir.
You are the right knob.
I am the right knob. Yeah. No, I'm doing great. I'm pumped to be here. We've got a doubleheader tonight, recording Retro Rewind Mega Man 2 as well. So I'm excited, and we've got Game Over Jesse joining us, and he's got some amazing things and topics that I want to discuss. So I am excited. We've got two Jessies, but the number one Jesse in our heart is actually Game Over Jesse. But we'll still go to Waldak first. Hey, Waldak, what's going on?
I think it's the first time I've done a show with two Jessies, and as I mentioned in the pre-chat, I've done a show with three Zachs before, so this won't be as confusing as that, but I'm sure we'll get some messages crossed throughout the show.
Yeah, probably. For those of you that are at the playing at home game, Jesse Waldak will be referred to as Waldak for this entire episode, and Game Over Jesse will be referred to as Jesse. So if you wonder at times, why does Jesse's voice sound different? It's a different Jesse. So speaking of a different Jesse, Game Over Jesse from YouTube, how are you today, sir?
I'm great. I'm just very thankful and grateful that you all allowed me or invited me to be on the podcast.
Oh wow, yeah, no, not a problem. We're very excited to have you on here. We had to work through some scheduling to get you here, but man, we are excited. I was checking out your YouTube channel before, and we were actually mentioning your wonderful avatar. Just a high passion for the Legend of Zelda and everything Zelda-esque. So that's amazing.
Yeah, the avatar, as I mentioned earlier, was created by, you can just look up Nomo Design, Gnomo Design on Twitter, and she does custom artwork to basically fit anything video character or video game character related, anime related, pretty much anything that you want, she'll do it for you, and honestly, the prices are really great, so go check it out if you want.
Nice, awesome.
Right on, man. Well, hey, gentlemen, we've got some Nintendo news to talk about, and with that, I think we get straight into the news. What do you think?
We should do that.
By the way, the new tagline, Justin's new tagline is, "Let's do that."
we should proceed. Let us do that together.
The gentleman's catchphrase. Right on. So, yeah. First off, I wanted to find. I'm going to play this new bumper that I don't know. Maybe I'll pull it more often. But where is it? Here we go. It's just this. This just in with a news flash. The Nintendo NX still is not here. More at 11. All right. We're not talking about the NX today. I'm done. I'm not doing it. So.
Just like Nintendo. Wow.
Yeah, so there was some rumors about how because it was what did you say, Justin? Because it was the fifth anniversary
of Nintendo Directs. Yeah, I was like, no, I'm done.
No, we're not doing it this week. So that's a done deal. So instead, there were a few things that did come out this week. The first thing that came out was the Famicom Mini. Okay, is it Famicom or Famicom? I don't know.
Famicom.
I've always pronounced it Famicom.
It's an M because it's short for family computer.
Right. I've always pronounced it Famicom as well.
Okay, yeah. So Famicom Mini Classic is coming to Japan, which of course is just like the NES Classic, except unlike us, where we get regular, actual, full replicas of the NES controller, their controllers are tiny.
Yeah, or they have the biggest hand model ever.
Yeah.
One of those two things.
So that's So I mean, I think it is definitely it was expected that they were going to get it. Their lineup is a little bit different too. I'm trying to remember what the actual
5 games that I think are kind of different than what we have in the North American version. Jesse, Waldak, you look like you got something.
Off the top of my head, they have Final Fantasy 3 instead of 1. and they have some sumo game instead of Tecmo Bowl.
They've got a golf game, or is it a different golf game? Mario Open Golf. I don't know if that's the same as the one that we're getting. But yeah, there's a few differences in the thing. And they also released that cool trailer that kind of showed
like timelined everything. That was cool.
Yeah, and how it so they did that, and they also showed the save functionality, which I'm a little bit weirded out about, where basically basically the reset button on the console is like a home button. It was kind of my understanding of it, where it just kind of brings you back to the home menu and allows you to save it, do save states. But you have to actually physically have to get up and plug in or tap the reset button in order to do it. So we're all going back, to our childhoods, where we're going to be sitting on cross-legged on the floor playing the NES Classic. So that's exciting.
Jesse,
my daughter says from preschool, it's crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesse, are you excited about the NES Classic or the Famicom or Famicom?
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. For me, it's a way to legally let my little brother, who's just now getting into gaming, experience all of these great games that he really otherwise wouldn't be able to unless he went individually and just bought all of them on the eShop. So getting what looks like an NES and sort of plays like an NES with all of the games, and you have the controller, it's being played and emulated the way that it should be. I think that's perfect for him, especially with the addition of the new save states that they're allowing you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have different, we've talked about before, different viewing methodologies for this, right? So they have a pixel perfect, they have a CRT mode, and they have a 4x3 mode, I think, or something.
Yeah, I think 4x3 is right.
Yeah, there's different viewing modes as well.
So basically, and I didn't realize this. I didn't know that. I always had assumed that NES was made for a 4x3 screen, but apparently it wasn't. And so the Pixel Perfect is actually, for a lot of these games, is the very first time that you will be able to play the game as intended by the developers, which is crazy, right? I think that's a really cool. I mean, I'm sure now that I say that, I'm sure that there are probably some emulation, some things with emulation that have been doing that before. But and I also looked at Game Explain's comparison video between the Wii U Virtual Console and the NES Classic. Crazy difference in the brightness of colors, the sound quality. It seems like for people who are a fan, it does seem like it's going to be quite a bit better.
I didn't realize how muddied up the Wii U emulation was.
Oh, like when you look at them side by side, it is sad.
It is
how bad it is.
Yeah. For me, I noticed whenever I was playing classic NES games on the Wii U, you don't really notice it. And then whenever you see the side-by-side comparison, then all of a sudden it's like your eyes just, everything's just, I don't know, shown off to you.
It's you just can't unsee it, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like their approach to both of these classics, the Famicom and then the NES Classic, appear to be the definitive version or the definitive way to play these classic games. So yeah. What do you guys think of the Famicom being released? Are now apparently through some research, this can actually be imported. This can be imported into the U.S. or I believe Canada through Amazon Japan. Anyone thinking about kind of doing that methodology as opposed to getting the classic?
I don't really have a desire to collect. I'm not really too much of a hardware collector, so I don't really see a reason to do it. But I'm sure that there will be plenty of people who do it.
Oh, tons. Waldak?
I know people who are wanting both, and if I could read Japanese, I probably would as well. But I'm not. Pretty much the games that are unique to that seem to be text heavy, like the Final Fantasy 3, which also Final Fantasy 3 on the DS I didn't like when I played it, so not sure if playing the original would be a benefit or not.
Yeah, not really able to brute force your way through that one with the language barrier for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Jesse, how about yourself?
For me, nostalgia just pulls me towards the NES. I could, if I was a hardcore collector, then I could see myself getting the Famicom version. But the question that I have is, earlier, Zach, I believe you mentioned that the Famicom controllers for the mini Famicom are going to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So what I would like to know is, are they taking the speaker or the microphone out of the controller
Hmm.
from the Famicom version?
Well,
Because like in games like the original Zelda, that's what you could use to kill the Dodongos and stuff like that.
Oh wow, I didn't see it. This is news to me. I'm looking at it. Not sure. I don't see anything, but
one of the controllers had the markings of where the mic was on the original controller. Whether it's a real mic or not, I don't know. But it does also look like it's attached to the system, just like the original Famicom controller was. It's not detachable like the NES.
yeah, it also looks like I'm just looking at an article on as far as the size goes on Kotaku, and just in comparison, so the original Famicom controller was 122 millimeters wide. The Game Boy Micro was 101 millimeters, and the Famicom Mini controllers are 90 millimeters. So it's like, so it's considerably smaller. If you look at it, it's like a good 30 millimeters smaller than it used to be. It's smaller than the Game Boy Micro.
I'm
like,
glad that we're getting full size controllers here.
Yeah, that's nightmare.
If I had to play on a controller reduced by 30%, I'm not sure I would like that.
Then again, I think for kids, that might not be a big deal, right? Like that might actually be a positive thing. Like, oh, here you go. Like for my kids, here you go. Here's a nice small controller for your little hands. I don't know. But yeah, as far as the microphone goes, I'm not seeing anything on the website, or at least on this article. I'm not seeing any sort of microphone functionality there. So my guess would be no. So no dice for that. Yeah. Anything else about that before we move on, gentlemen?
Other than the fact that these things are going to sell like gangbusters.
Yep. You think they're going to be hard to find?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is going to be here's the thing. I would say two things. It shouldn't be hard to find. It will be hard to find. I think this is going to be like the amiibo shortage. I think this is going to be like the Wii. Like this should be the perfect holiday gift. Do you know what I mean? It's like, especially in the US, it's a sweet spot, right? It's a $60. You don't know what to do. $70 to throw in a controller. This is a perfect like gift for the holiday season. This should be at like every kind of retail store you can get it at, right? It should be, it's almost be like as you're walking to the checkout, it's a big display of like Super Nintendo or Nintendo, and it's like, oh, grab that. It's like in the palm of your hand. It should be that way. However, we're all realists. We all know Nintendo. We all know how they work. They're probably, unfortunately, going to be short on this and create a frenzy, right, for how these things work. Much like Amiibo, and
really.
Yeah, and much like the Wii did as well. Like I feel like this might be. Actually, I saw today it was on like I think Good Morning America. They did a spotlight on it, and they're dubbing it already as gonna be like one of the hottest gifts of 2016 for Christmas.
Yeah. The question that I have in terms of, is it going to be hard to find or is it going to be readily available everywhere, is, does Nintendo have enough faith in this to think that it's going to sell millions and millions of consoles? Or are they going to look at it as, this is just something for the hardcore fans that want it, and then deliberately create a short supply because they don't have faith in it selling well, so they don't want to invest as much money creating so many different units when they don't think they're going to sell?
Yeah,
I think for me, this the NES Mini, what is it? NES Mini Classic?
NES Classic Mini.
Okay. This is what like a very rare sort of advertising campaign for the NX, and I like where they're building up, where they're actually able to charge people to take part in their ad campaign, right? Where basically they're reminding everybody, hey everybody, Nintendo is awesome. Come and pay us this however much. It's $80 in Canada, Justin.
Yeah, it's 80 in Canada.
Right, and so pay us this $80, and we will allow you to remember, and then hey, everybody come and play the NX next year, right? Where this is the priming of the pump, where it's like, all right, we're going. Like they're charging everybody in order to prime the pump for the NX, and that might it comes out sounding very sort of critical, but I think it's genius. I think that it's going to be huge, and I think that I'll be most interested to see what is the conversion rate between people who bought the NES Classic Mini, whatever, new Galaxy style, whatever, into like the conversion rate from that to the NX.
Right.
That I think is going to be a really interesting comparison.
I think Nintendo's realized, and this is why I think it's going to be just spot on, Jesse, is Nintendo, I think, has realized that this nostalgia bit that they're playing has worked incredibly well. And I think evidence that we see of that is actually July and August sales in relation to the 3DS, 2DS, and the old Pokemon game after we saw Pokemon Go kind of come out, right? We saw huge spikes in the sales in relation to that. So I actually really think that this is such a strong nostalgia play that this is going to go like gangbusters. And I think they're going to have a large, they're going to make a large amount of them, hoping for it, but they're going to sell hard on them.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, I put in a link to an image in the Skype chat and in the YouTube in the live chat showing the box art for the Family Computer Mini, and you can see it shows both controllers, and you can see differences in controller 1 and controller 2. Controller 2 has what looks like the mic and the volume controllers, just like the original controller 2 did in the Famicom, so it looks like it might have all that built in.
I'm interested in the fact that, wait a minute, this comes with 2 controllers because ours doesn't.
Correct. Because again, these are hardwired in; they're not removable.
Correct.
Oh yeah, screw that then. No way. No, I want to be able to play. I want to be able to use that controller on my Wii U and all that kind of stuff to play virtual console games. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, next up here, we have Yooka-Laylee is getting a physical release. Who's got that one in there?
Yeah, I threw that one in there. Yeah, like who did that? I threw that in there just we've been talking about Yooka-Laylee recently. We've been talking about how it's doing and kind of getting some hype around it. We obviously had a video from good friend of our show, Paul Lloyd. But yeah, we found out recently that Yooka-Laylee will be getting an actual physical release as opposed to just being digital. Sounds like they're actually going to be giving their backers an option to get the physical as opposed to digital as well. So yeah, nothing too huge here, but I think this is a great sign. We obviously saw this happen with Mighty No. 9 as well, getting a physical release. There were some actual, I think, bumps in the road for, it seemed like those who got the physical release might have gotten sometimes more than other people who got the digitals got, especially in relation to Kickstarter. But yeah, I think this is great for Yooka-Laylee. I think this is great for games for the Wii U in general. So I don't know. Jesse, you back this project. Am I right on that one? Yeah.
Yes. Or
anything else that you want to talk about from that perspective?
I wasn't. Well, after I said yes, I didn't realize were you talking to me or to.
Oh, sorry, Waldak. I apologize. Dang it.
Okay, I told you. I've been out of the loop the last few days. I didn't even hear any of this until just now. But given the choice, I still want to keep it digital, just because 95% of everything I have is digital now.
Yeah.
But I know I understand people. A lot of people are still liking the physical, and great, more power to them. They can now have their dust collector on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah, so they basically said here that they are going to release both digitally and physically. If you're a backer, you're going to get the choice to basically upgrade your digital pledge to a physical version if you want. But yeah, nothing too crazy. But I think this is good.
Very cool. Right on, man. And that's coming out Q1 2017.
Q1 2017. This may be one of the last games you're playing for the Wii U.
launching physical and digital the same time, they said?
It looks like it, but that's not a confirmed for sure. But I mean, when I look at what Mighty Number 9, it was day and date.
Right. Well, yeah, and I'm just thinking Shovel Knight, it was quite a long time difference. So, but I think that was to be expected, and they didn't announce the physical release until much or farther after the thing. Yeah. Anyways, moving on.
I think a lot of these physical releases on the indie titles have something more to do with the European market more than the North American market. I have no source on that. It's just I remember hearing something along the lines of the Europeans are the ones that are preferring the physical releases with these indies.
Waldak, it is broad sweeping never mind. Speculations like that. This is not a speculation show, a rumor show, sir. You have to come here with hard proof and evidence.
Okay, well,
I don't think that's
that's not true.
Speaking of hard truth and evidence, going back to the chat real quick, talking about the Famicom Mini, we have a power cord. Japan does not. They have to buy the power cord separately.
That's terrible. What does it use? Like the 3DS power cord?
I don't know. I think it's some USB connector.
Like USB?
Yeah, it's like it'll be it's USB into the system and then power, into the wall on the other side.
That sucks. All right,
Jesse, how are you feeling about ukulele?
I mean, I think it's fantastic for the people that want it, but just like the other Jesse was saying, a lot of people prefer to have all of their games digital, so it's not collecting dust or taking up space. But me personally, I think if I go and buy a game, especially something like this that reaches that nostalgia factor to where it gives you the memories of playing older platform games like Super Mario 64 and obviously Banjo-Kazooie, you went and bought those games on the cartridge. So I think this is another way for the people that are really nostalgic for this experience to kind of satiate them even more.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I hope they do like an old school retro instruction manual too.
Yeah.
That would be class.
Yeah, dude. The Shovel Knight has that. It's pretty good.
Or like box art, like the old Atari 2600 boxes that look nothing like the actual game.
Yeah, that's a must. Right on. So next up we have as well the starter. Okay, here we go. That sounds like Pokemon, right? I actually love the music in the new trailer.
What?
Yeah. Have you heard it? You hear it?
I hear it, yeah.
Anyways, so the new Pokemon trailer came out, and they finally showed off the second evolutionary forms of the starters, and very interesting new trailer. They showed off a few other things in the trailer. Funny thing, by the way, is my son. When we watched the original trailer, showed off the starters, he had kind of made a comment of like, oh man, Poplio is the best, which is like the water one, this little seal. And as soon as he saw these ones, he kind of looked at me and was like, Dad, I think I'm going to pick a different one instead. Because it's clearly like a much more feminine, the evolved form of Poplio, what is it, Brion or something like that? Yeah. Very much a more... more feminine version of that. He was like, I think I'm going to pick Litten instead. So,
good choice.
I was like, that's okay because that, whatever his name is, the evolution of Rowlet, the grass owl, is like the sweetest hipster owl I've ever seen. So probably what I'm going to pick, just out of pure irony. So other things that were announced in that trailer, I'm just trying to remember. There was some cool stuff about how if you put your Pokemon in storage, then they don't just sit there. You can do other things with them. It seems like there's some additional multiplayer stuff going on. Mega Evolution is coming back, which is good because I think there were some questions about that.
Can I take a pause for a couple? I'm gonna play like dumb Pokemon guy rounds. Okay, so you said this is like a second evolution. Is there more than one evolution?
Starters always have 3 stages. like
Okay.
Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard.
Okay. So the starters always have that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always like
most of the other Pokemon, if they evolve, is normally one step. Some of them do have two steps, like the
Dratini.
Dratini.
Ghastly, the Haunter into Gengar or stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pidgey.
Okay.
Pidgey, there you go. Pidgey's a good
I
example.
hate Pidgeys. Sorry.
Yeah,
Pokemon Go has taught me anything.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Vileplume is the third stage of that set.
And what is a Mega Evolution? Because that just seems like a bigger evolution.
You want to take it?
Yeah, Mega Evolution was introduced in Pokemon X and Y, and basically it's like a Super Saiyan version of your highest level.
I like that. Yeah.
Where basically you charge them up into a different form, but only within that battle, and then once the battle's over, it changes back. So like Mega Charizard, there's actually 2 different Mega Charizards depending on what version you have. And so if you like get Mega Charizard X, then he's like, his skin is all black and he's got blue flames, and he suddenly is a dragon type, and so it changes the strategy there a little bit.
Yeah. Did you see the Pokemon Origins anime of last year?
Do I look like... No.
Okay, one, you should, because it's a retelling of... It's a sort of a fast-paced retelling of Gen 1, and then at the very end, it kind of adds this Mega Evolution battle with Mewtwo at the end.
Okay. So basically, a Mega Evolution is when they're in a battle, they can basically kind of expand their evolution one more, but it's just for that battle?
Right.
Yeah.
And they
It's
have to be
kind
holding a
of like
certain
when...
item.
Is it kind of like when Bruce Banner gets really mad, becomes a Hulk, whoops him, and then goes back to normal just for that battle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're good here.
Yep.
We're good.
Yeah. So basically,
Charizard Hulk.
Yeah, so and there's a bunch of different ones. You have to have a Mega Stone in order to do it. But yeah. So here, I'm going to send you a link, Justin, to the Bulbapedia article all about Mega Evolution, and you can get your wisdom on. I don't know what that means.
I'm probably not going to read it. I'm not going to lie to you. But
You can study to your heart's content.
Good. If there's anything I need to do in my life right now, it's read more Pokemon stuff. I like
It
that.
also just has a cool list that you can kind of see how they change.
Jesse, are you excited for this? You look like a man who knows some stuff about Pokemon. Or Pokemon.
I dropped out around the 3rd generation, and then whenever Black and White came out, I started to get back into it. And just lately, over the course of the past few months, I've been jumping pretty much headfirst back into Pokemon, not just the games, but the anime, because as I was saying earlier, my younger brother is just now getting to that age to where he is able to play and comprehend video games. So Pokemon is a good way to get him into RPGs and like Zelda for adventure, Mario for platforming. And yeah, so to sort of get him interested in the games, we've been watching the Pokemon Origins, to where it's the anime based off of the games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm interested, but really the interest comes from trying to get my brother interested, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with Pokemon too, where it's like, it's exciting, but it's almost more exciting to see my son be excited about it, if that makes sense. Can we talk for a second, by the way, about this Pokemon Generations anime?
The YouTube
Jesse,
series?
Yeah, the YouTube series. Jesse, have you watched it? Either of you? Waldak?
Yes, I've seen them all.
I haven't yet.
It's not good. It's not good. And I don't know if you feel differently, Jesse, Waldak, but I'll tell you why I feel like it isn't. Is because it feels like what they did for this series was, let's choose a 5-minute segment of something of like some other period in the history of Pokemon that didn't make the cut in anything else that they've ever done. And so then let's make a thing about that. So like the second episode, I'll just do spoiler alert for the second episode. Basically the entire episode is, oh man, we've been looking for the leader of Team Rocket. Oh, he's at this Pokemon gym. let's go and invade the Pokemon gym to find him, and then they invade. Basically, the most exciting part is when they break into the gym, and then he's not here, and then it ends. And that was the whole episode. It was like 5 minutes, and it's literally just, we're gonna invade this gym, and then they use an Arcanine and blow a hole in the wall or whatever, and then you get inside, and it's like, he's not here, and then it ended. Yeah. And I was like, are you serious? What?
I like what they've
episode.
I like what they've done. I think it would be better if they double the time to each episode.
I think so too.
Give it more time to
Don't say evolve. Don't say evolve.
I almost did. But to build itself a plot. You know, actually have a plot and a resolution instead of just here's a story that falls flat.
Well, and like the one where it shows Blue taking on the Elite Four, where it really didn't show. It was like a montage, and I think that actually is the best word I can use to describe all of these episodes so far. Is that they are montages, where it's like it's Blue taking on the Elite Four, or like the first episode is literally just you caught Pikachu, and now here's Pikachu running through every single region in Pokemon history. The end. Like, what?
Okay, Zach. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to promise. I've just added the current 4 episodes to my YouTube watch later feed. I will watch them before next episode.
And here's the thing that I want you to do too, Justin. Is there's something called, but the new one that they're making right now is called Pokemon Generations. Uh-huh. There's an older one that is 4 episodes long, and how long are those episodes, Jesse? Like 20 minutes each, something like that?
Yeah, that's the Pokemon Origins that I was referencing
Pokemon
earlier.
Origins, and that is much better, in my opinion.
Okay, I need to find that now. Pokemon Origins too?
Yep. Okay. There should be 4 episodes of that.
I've seen them as separate episodes. I've seen them as one big movie. You know, if you need help finding that, I'm sure I can help.
I can YouTube my way through this one.
Yeah, they're all on YouTube. So yeah, that's anyways, that's Pokemon so far. They also announced, everyone get your excited pants on. I don't know what that means.
They're skin tight and slightly short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. October 18th.
That's the TMI is how you spell that. In case.
October 18th, there is going to be a demo available on the eShop for Pokemon Sun and Moon, and that is going to be available for download, and you can play through that and get an Ash Greninja, which ties into the anime. Cool sort of Greninja that can have an alternate form, and you will be able to transfer that to your new game when Pokemon Sun and Moon come out. So
my son's actually looking forward to that aspect. He just found out about it as we were starting to record. He's sending me a text. Hey, look, we can get an Ash Greninja. When does the demo come out? I'm like, I don't know yet. I'll let you know. Oh, and then he says, "Oh, I see it. It comes out the 18th."
Yeah, my son was also very excited when he saw that, and so he's he's like, "Hey, Dad, can I get the demo?" I was like, "It's not out yet, dude." He's like, "Well, what? When does it come out?" The 18th. How many days away is that? Right. So now we're on countdown.
So now we do math.
Yeah. So what is that? Is that a Tuesday? Am I doing my math right? Is that a Tuesday that comes out?
Yes. Yeah, it's Tuesday.
That's weird. That is a weird time for that to come out.
Well, it is weird, but it's also exactly 1 month before the game launch.
I thought you were going to say it was so many year anniversary since the first Pokemon Direct or some stupid thing. I was going to slap you. But
I would, if I would have said that, I would have deserved to have gotten slapped.
Fair.
Yeah. So that's exciting. That'll be a cool thing that everybody gets to play. And yeah.
And I would have passed on the demo, just because I know how this game works. It's Pokemon, but the fact that you can't get Ash Greninja without playing the demo. Now I got to play the demo now.
Yeah,
Jesse,
that's what they did last time too, right? They gave the Mega Glalie or something like that with the demo. I can't remember, for Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Anyways, sorry, Jessica, go ahead.
I would say, for as much as I don't know anything about Pokemon, you would probably all be very pleased to know that as of yesterday, I have pre-ordered the double batch where I get Sun and Moon together in one thing.
Really?
The guy at EB Games, I think he actually shamed me. Because I was like, no, I'll just get Sun. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, should I get Moon? what are you doing? I was like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. He's like, you get both. I was like, why? So we had a good like Pokemon discussion.
Well, okay,
so
what was the reason?
I feel like I might have got peer pressured by the guy from EB Games. I don't know how that happens. Like, I don't get peer pressured a lot.
Like, okay, so did you like the 10 or something? Or did you just literally order one of each?
No, he got me the collector's one where they're both together in one tin, maybe?
I need to do that. I don't have mine pre-order yet. I should do that.
So, I don't know. He said, like, things cross over. Like, if you do, like, sun first, data crosses over to moon and stuff.
It sounds to me like sold you a bunch of hokum is what just happened.
I don't know. I trusted a guy who knew stuff about video games and Pokemon. You're not.
Sounds like he's talking about Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons.
Yeah.
No, what it sounds like to me is literally like there are version exclusives. But the whole purpose behind that is you play a version and your friend plays a version and then you trade. Right? Mm-hmm. So unless you want to play through the entire game twice, which is like a 40-hour game. I don't know how long it is.
I don't know about that.
My son has done that with the Alpha Ruby Omega Sapphire. He's played both games through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the other part of it is I might try and convince one of the kids here to get a 2DS, so I could play my game, they could play their game, or they could play both separately. Also, I shouldn't say convince them. They want one, but I don't know if I trust them yet with their own video game console. I'll tell you that right now.
We have we have a new very strict rule of 1 hour on weekdays. Like, can't do any more than that because that boy, it's like freaking, it's like hard drugs. It's like, all right, dude, turn it off. No,
Dad, just put Pokemon right in my veins.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, were you slapping your veins? Is that what you were doing? Like,
I was. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that's your Pokemon update, everybody.
Yeah.
Look forward to catching them all in 13 days time. So finally, what do we got? Did I close my notes no, I didn't. Okay.
I'll kind of pop through these ones real fast. 13 AM Games, publishers and creators of Runbow, today announced a new game called Pirate Pop Plus. That's a tongue twister. I've ever heard one.
I need to play this. I need to play this music so people can appreciate it because
it is chip music for sure.
I've said before, and I know that both Justin and Jesse, neither of you were excited about this, but that I get nostalgic for Game Boy. I don't get nostalgic for NES. I get nostalgic for Game Boy. And this trailer, man, like all the right buttons. So
you gonna hit the right button to play the audio?
Yeah, it's yeah. Here we go. Oh, I don't know what it is, but that, like, the Game Boy, they've reproduced that sound chip perfectly. It's beautiful. And yeah, so this game is, again, like you said, Justin, 13 AM Games. It's coming out when?
It's coming out on the 20th of October, which is literally 2 days after the Pokemon demo comes out.
Which is great. Well, I mean, yeah, that's okay, though. I feel like I'll have enough time to play this before the actual game comes out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we love Runbow, right?
I love Runbow.
Awesome. When does Runbow Pocket come out? I feel like that's soon, too.
That should be very soon. We haven't seen an official press release from them, but I think they're working on it because of also I think the physical release for that one. So that's a physical and digital. Yeah. But soon I suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell looking at this game, this was inspired by Runbow. It's got that kind of mechanics of flipping up and down and around in the screen, like different kind of that gravity
on the ceiling and on the floor and everything. Yep. And that's definitely an interesting mechanic of with that there. And are you actually tapping on the screen here? Like, I'm not sure, or if it's just the trailer. I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely.
Zach is all in. You can check out the trailer on both our Facebook and Twitter page. It's also cross-buy, which is great. I think the price point they put was $4.99. So like this is fantastic, right in that wheelhouse. So yeah, very excited to give that a shot. That announcement came out. Jesse, not Waldeck, but Jesse, did you play Runbow?
I did not, but I seen several different Let's Plays of it, and it looks like a really great game, especially obviously playing with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
by the
do
way, the
some
3DS
interesting gameplay mechanics. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. By the way, this is new 3DS only,
Mm.
and not regular 3DS. But then, of course, it'll be on the Wii U. So
Yeah.
So you should be able to play it if you're listening to this show and I don't know, I guess there's not really a whole lot of reason to upgrade from a regular 3DS to a new 3DS.
Not
They
with the
haven't provided
potential
a-
NX coming.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's one more. So that is Pirate Pop. Is that right?
Pirate Pop Plus.
Yes. So as they say, look forward to that. Finally, last story is on my notes.
I like the press release to this and how they worded it.
This was, okay. Yeah. So cute, Nintendo. Congrats. I don't know. This is me being callous, but I don't know. The 2DS colors are being reversed, and now it's a red front and a black back, or a blue front and a black back, instead of the colors being on the back and the black being on the front. Good job, Nintendo. Well done. Well, I don't.
The press release says it was Luigi's fault.
This is my impressed face. Is what this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because that projects so well in audio.
I know, but yeah. Justin, were you excited about having the 2DS? This Mario, and I should note too, the Mario Kart bundle is the exact same bundle that already exists.
Yeah.
So that's
they just did a paint swap, and we've seen this again. I saw something earlier where I think they actually did I think over in Europe or over in Japan, they did a pink version, like a Princess Peach. Oh no, they did a Style Savvy 2DS Style Savvy version. Like, it feels like they're happy to throw a slap of paint on the 2DS and just say it's something new for their marketing campaign. But yeah, I wasn't like, I was like, oh, well, now I'm going to go buy it. But I think they're just trying to remind people it's out there for the holidays as well as a device to pick up. So, yeah.
I think it would be really great if just how they did the see-through Nintendo 64 colors. If they did that with the 2DSs, I think that would be a great way to.
I think they did in Japan.
Yeah, they did it here too. Actually, it was. I know because it was the first 2DS that we bought my son was a clear red one, and or like that transparent red, and then he lost it, and so now his current one is not like that. But that first one was yeah.
Jesse, what are you using for your handheld? I'm going to make an assumption you have a handheld. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I use the A Link Between Worlds 3DS. Ooh. So not the new 3DS, but still.
Oh, so you don't have a new 3DS? Oh, okay.
I do not.
That's still good. That's still good. That's still a good 3DS to have.
That is a good 3DS.
That's nice. Excellent. And of course, the news was brought to us by OneUpBox.com. We appreciate their partnership with us. If you want geeky boxes sent to you every single month, head over to OneUpBox.com and use the offer code NintendoDads to get money off your first box. This last box had awesome Nintendo stuff in it, including a bow tie, socks, some glasses, and a Wicked exclusive T-shirt, and a Star Wars keychain. So thank you to OneUpBox.com.
Right on. Well, with that, Justin, we have a surprise discussion thing with our guest, Game Over Jesse, and for that, I'm doing our surprise bumper, this one.
It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you are going to get.
There you go. Never gets old. So, we have... Justin, why don't you lead this off here?
Yeah, so we kind of having Game Over Jesse here. We talked about it earlier. You have such a passion for Zelda and for Link, for that entire series. We talked a little bit on the pre-show about kind of where that was inspired from, but I kind of asked, like, hey, are there a couple discussion points you want to bring forward to talk about, kind of for all of us to roundtable discuss? So you brought a couple here that I'm going to read out. We'll start with the first one, have a kind of a roundtable discussion, then move in the second one. But I'd love to hear kind of your direction, your statements for all this. So I'm going to start off with the first one. If Nintendo partnered with a third-party studio to develop a new Zelda game, as they did with Capcom when they made Minish Cap and Four Swords Adventures, and that partnership led to Hyrule Warriors, which third-party studio would you want to see collaborate with Nintendo, and why? Who? And again, you're assuming, Jesse, that this collaboration is in relation to Zelda, correct? The Zelda franchise.
Yes.
Okay. Third party. Oh wow.
And that question sort of stems from not many people know that Capcom was basically behind Minish Cap, I believe, the Oracle games, if I'm not mistaken.
They did the Oracle games.
And both Four Swords games. So that's...
I don't think I knew about the Four Swords, if there was them.
Yeah, I think every game that had Batty as the final boss was kind of from Capcom. So that's 5 really great Zelda games, depending on your opinion, that were co-produced by a completely separate developer from Nintendo. And obviously they have Grezzo, who has worked on A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes, and are almost solely responsible for the remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. So, and almost forgot their new partnership with, I feel bad for forgetting the name, but the one that led to Dynasty, or with the Dynasty Warriors team that led to Hyrule Warriors.
Or Koei Tecmo, I don't know which one.
Yeah, so in my mind, I look at games like the new Tomb Raider reboot, to where it has those puzzle elements that are kind of Zelda-esque. And I would look at that game, or those developers, Crystal Dynamics, I believe, and I would love to see Nintendo partner with them or someone else at Square Enix, because you could get that almost realistic, or if it was the team behind the Final Fantasy series, that fantasy realistic art style with the RPG elements and the sense of having a dense overworld like in the Tomb Raider games, and giving that team, putting Miyamoto or Aonuma in charge of that team, I think would make a really great Zelda game, especially because the team that is working on the Zelda games now, it's basically been the same teams that's been working on Zelda games for the past 10, 20 years, however long. Obviously, they have new developers coming in, but primarily it's the same exact team. So you're going to get similar puzzle designs and stuff like that. So I would like to see a brand new team, like how Capcom created Minish Cap, and just see what they could do, what they could bring to it, especially with their experience for, say, if it was the Tomb Raider team, bringing the experience from working on those games to Zelda, or if it's the Final Fantasy teams, bringing that experience to the Zelda series.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Right on. So
go ahead, Zach.
It's totally different, but I think that it would be really cool to see. Now, the people at Square Enix, and I'm going mobile here. So the people at Square Enix have created 2 games on iOS that are kind of similar but different, and that is Lara Croft Go and Hitman Go. I don't know if you guys have played either one of those, but they're more just, or sort of touch-based games that are like actually really good sort of translations of both of those series and sort of the basic sort of mechanics of that series. So in Hitman, it's obviously, killing people, like assassinating, and then in Lara Croft Go, it's like the Tomb Raider thing, right, where you're in going through different sort of environments and dodging in stuff in temples and whatever, and finding treasure. And I think that would be a really cool thing to see them tackle, have a Legend of Zelda Go, or whatever you want to call it, and have it be the Zelda game, but have it be translated to a mobile phone, because they're doing all sorts of mobile phone stuff anyways right now. I think that would be a really cool thing to get those people and make a Zelda game on iOS or Android or whatever you want to call it, or whatever you want to have. So totally different, but I think that would be really cool. So
That's a really hard question. So I actually have kind of two answers for you. One of the first ones I was thinking was Retro. There's Retro Studios doing it, and I think the reason that I think that it is, I saw what they did with the Donkey Kong series, the Donkey Kong Returns franchise, and I think they did a really great job of kind of putting a fresh coat of paint to it, but also paying homage to where it has been. And I think it could create some really interesting challenges and new puzzles from that. I think they also kind of can increase the difficulty. I'd love to actually see. I'd love to see it actually in the style of A Link to the Past, like that nice kind of overhead, almost angular perspective. I think that would be really awesome. And the other developer that comes to my mind is actually Atui Studios. That's Jules Watson's group. And the thing that inspires me a little bit from his work is I would almost picture it as like almost like a, and maybe it's because we're starting to play Zelda 2, so I'm very much in that 2D, that side-scrolling perspective. But he does such a great job with 3D depth perception and 8-bit graphics that I could almost see kind of redoing Zelda 2 as an 8-bit with more 3D depth. So the levels you'd have to go back and forth between the caves. Again, I think it'd have to be on the 3DS obviously because of the depth perception. And then after a level, you kind of zoom back out and you're back on the world map, and it's very three-dimensional that way, right? So you kind of know where you're going back and forth, and yeah. So it's almost like a remaster of Zelda 2 with his studio. So
I like that.
Yeah, that sounds like the most. Anytime I've asked somebody this question, what you've said is probably the most original answer that I've seen. So
mic drop. I'm done, y'all. Boom.
Yeah.
We're setting up an interview with Jules in the next couple of weeks. So if you want, I can try and pitch this idea to him and see what he can come up with.
Do it.
Jesse, Waldak, what about yourself?
I was thinking along the lines of an Atlas game, kind of like a Zelda cross Shin Megami Tensei.
Tokyo, Hyrule Mirage Sessions.
Yeah, some weird Zelda Persona merge.
Oh, that'd be rad, dude. I would love that. That would be
that'd be trippy.
So it would be where Persona mostly takes place inside the high school setting. This would be taking place at the Skyloft Academy setting or something.
Yeah,
what awesome.
Are you imagining the battle system is more like Zelda or more like Persona still?
I'd probably want a little bit of mix of both. Similar to what Justin said. You have some 3D elements and some 2D elements. We can, depending on what's going on in the story or in the setting, you could do a turn-based battle or a more action battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, I like it.
Maybe they have to sing to win something. I don't know. A little pop band going on there for Tokyo Mirage.
In the chat, someone says Zelda Bomberman.
You kind of had that though in Triforce Heroes with the Bomberman suit, right? The bomber suit, I should say. So, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are great. Awesome. I like that question. All right. The next question, Jesse, you bring is prominent game developers such as Inafune, Kojima, and Agache have left their previous studios and created spiritual successors to the game franchise. Thank you. They are most known for. If Aonuma or Miyamoto left Nintendo and started their own studio, what kind of new game or spiritual successor would they create? Oh my gosh. This is a really tough one. So Jesse, I'm going to throw this to you first and talk about kind of where this question generates from and your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, well, last year was basically when all of these spiritual successors started getting popular, from the mind behind Mega Man started creating Mighty Number 9 or the Castlevania successor. And it started making me think where my passion is Nintendo. Who from Nintendo could possibly leave and create their own spiritual successor, whether they left on good terms or bad terms. And the first one that came to mind was the man that is behind the Smash Bros. Series. His name's slipping me right now because
Sakurai.
Yeah, Sakurai. Where he always, like, after
Sakurai.
every Smash Bros. Games, there's always an interview where he says, "This is my last Smash Brothers game." So then I started thinking, well, if he created something new, what would that be? And then I just related it to, obviously, Aonuma and Miyamoto are more popular among Nintendo fans because, obviously, Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, and everything. So it just kind of got me thinking, if Miyamoto left, would he do a successor to the Mario series to where it's more of a platforming game? Would it be more of an adventure open world game like Zelda? Would it be a simple 2D platformer like Donkey Kong? Or what exactly would he do? Because he has such a legacy behind him of so many different games that fit in so many different genres. If he was to pick one, what would it be? And with Aonuma, many people would think maybe he would go for a Zelda successor, but where he's worked on Zelda for most of his career, I would think that he would want to work on something new. So that's kind of where this stems from. And I don't really have an answer for it. I just love hearing other people's opinions because to me it's a really interesting what if scenario.
Yeah. I think when I think of Miyamoto, like where he would go, I don't think I could even pinpoint what he would do. That man's
he would be gone from video game. I feel like there would be some legal stuff like a non-compete, like you're not doing nothing for a good long while. At least that's how it would pan out if it was in North America, right? Yeah. If it was a Western studio, there would be some non-compete stuff going on where he just would not be allowed to do it.
Yeah, like I remember reading in an interview that Nintendo has such value or such an investment in Miyamoto that in his contract he's legally not allowed to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So it's like, if that's what we know is in his contract, what kind of crazy stuff is in his contract that we don't know? Like,
I'm willing to bet you like that man gets chauffeured everywhere.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I bet you there's a ton of stuff in his kind of rider. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like I think Miyamoto is very much, and Iwata could have been argued with it, right? But I think Miyamoto is very much the equivalent of like what Steve Jobs was for Apple is what Miyamoto is for Nintendo, right? Like just that pillar in that industry. Yeah, I think with him it's really hard to say what he would ever do because he's just masterful and the father of so much, right? That to be able to say like you're gonna now do this, I wouldn't even guess, right? The next game would be like cutting grass, and we'd all be like, yep, bought it, done it, love it.
It would end up just being like pay attention to like random things he said about his life and what he's been doing lately, and that's what it would be like. Like how like Pikmin's like, oh, I've been gardening more lately, and all of a sudden we get Pikmin games, and oh, I got a dog, and now we have Nintendogs, and all that kind of weird stuff.
Around the time he leaves, he suddenly gets an interest for scuba diving, and then there's just some crazy scuba diving game.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see, but again, I think Miyamoto in particular, I can't see him ever leaving because it's so much a part of who he is and so much a part of who Nintendo.
And Aonuma bought him a Wind Waker, and now we have Wii Music.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's what we have to blame.
I think you'll know me. I think he'll begin to get retired when you start seeing a large impulse of or surge of Mario Golf games. Is when you know that he'll be retiring. Then he's stroke ready.
Even his official title at Nintendo, I think, is just crazy. Like creative fellow.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It's a term that they use a lot more in academic circles, right? Where it's more of a, it's almost a mentorship sort of title. So he is the mentor to the people below him. But Aonuma, I think, is another interesting one. What has he done other than Zelda? Like, I don't.
There was some RPG-ish game that he worked on before he started working on the Zelda series, and he was kind of the director on that game. And then he teamed up with Miyamoto for, I want to say, Ocarina of Time.
I'm thinking Ocarina.
So holy cow. Okay, so I'm looking at his works on Wikipedia. 1991 NES Open Tournament Golf. 1996 BS Super Mario USA Power Challenge. What the crap? Both of those he was the graphic designer. He was sprite designer and then a graphic.
BS is their satellite system that was an add-on to the Super Famicom.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was like a similar to Super Mario All-Stars, it says. And then immediately went from sprite designer, graphic designer to a director of Marvelous something, which may be what you're talking about. And then he became the designer of Ocarina of Time. So, yeah, crazy.
So over 20 years, this guy has lived, breathed Zelda.
Yeah, and it's like, he wants to do something else, but Zelda is such a popular franchise for Nintendo that I think whenever they have their meetings with all of the upper management, and he's like, hey, do you think after Skyward Sword comes out, I can work on something else? And then they just look at him.
And they all start laughing.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I think part of it, too, is that the last game that he was a director of was Twilight Princess. So that was 10 years ago. He's been a producer or a supervisor since then. So he is a little bit more of a supervisory role and not necessarily a hands-on sort of. He's providing feedback, but he's not actually the director of the game. He's just producing it. So I think that's an interesting point too.
We've talked about before. Both Aonuma and Miyamoto need to and have been shepherding more over the last 10 years, right, to create more of a pipeline of designers and directors who are going to eventually take over the full reins, right, of these IPs. They have to, right? I think they're still there to kind of, but I mean, even if you think about it, like Breath of the Wild is a change of form to what we're used to for Zelda, but at the same time, there's familiarity of it, right? It feels like someone's like, here's my wild and crazy idea, and you're like, go for wild and crazy, but here are things that still have to be rooted in it. And that's being pushed down from probably an Aonuma. Splatoon's a great example as well. Brand new development team, basically like go wild crazy, you have a huge hit. So I think again, you have to see this shepherding and this mentor and leadership change.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Great questions, Jesse. Thank you for bringing those. Those are awesome. Very, very thought provoking.
I feel like we maybe didn't answer that second one, but it's almost like I can't even possibly imagine that. But I still like it. Very cool. Let's hit into what we've been playing, shall we?
Do it.
All right. So Jesse, of course, it is our tradition to let the guest go first. So what have you been playing lately, good sir?
Lately, I have been replaying through Wind Waker HD on the Wii U because, again, going back to my little brother, I'm trying to get him into gaming. It may sound like I'm kind of forcing it on to him, but it's not like that.
Okay. It's fine.
He really likes it, but for example, he is right now he's in first grade, so he's just now learning.
My son, then, yeah. So my son's in first grade.
Yeah, so he's just now learning to read, which is the problem because he's familiar with a lot of the words, but then sometimes something will pop up in Wind Waker and he doesn't know what it says or he doesn't understand it.
Yeah, my son's learning to read too. He's a junior in high school.
So he's having a lot of trouble like trying to figure out where to go at certain locations or to find certain items. So I've been playing with him kind of like couch co-op with Wind Waker. And I've really been I guess replaying through a lot of Wind Waker HD. Other than that, we'll play through Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U. The
Nice.
co-op in that is really fun. And non-Nintendo, I've been playing with some of my cousins with the new Mortal Kombat game on PC. And it's kind of a fresh breath away from all of the Nintendo stuff. So,
Sweet. Right on, man. Very cool.
So I'm going to ask you a quick question before we segue out of that. I'm putting you on the spot here, Jesse. Where would you rank Wind Waker in your favorite Zelda games?
See, if you would have asked me maybe a year or two ago, I would say Twilight Princess was one of my favorite Zelda games, but I feel like I've played through that one and at least the first half of that game so many times that it's just gotten too repetitive to where it's not that interesting anymore. Yep. The remake was really great to jump back in there, but with Wind Waker, I've noticed that I guess it's just where I haven't played through it as much. It seems a lot more fresh to me, and especially playing with my brother, he likes how it looks pretty much like a living cartoon.
Yeah, it has probably one of the most beautiful art styles I think that we've ever seen. I actually think it does have the most beautiful art style.
Yeah, so I would put it up there as maybe my second or third favorite, alongside, I would say Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask is tied, but I would put Skyward Sword right now as number one.
Interesting. All right, great.
Yeah.
I'm sure that list shifts quite frequently depending on what's going on, right?
Yeah, like I would die for a Skyward Sword HD remake, and especially if they could get the motion controls a little bit more accurate, because I think that's what 90% of people that didn't like that game, it was because of the motion control. Yeah. But I thought Skyward Sword had one of the best and most in-depth stories. So I think that's kind of why I put it up there. And the gameplay is a lot different from anything else. And that's kind of why I'm looking forward to Breath of the Wild so much, because its gameplay is basically taking like the best of from all of the different past Zelda games, but still making it different enough to where it stands out and doesn't feel like a greatest hits.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, no, absolutely. I really kind of shocked that they didn't, when they released Skyward Sword, they didn't release it as an HD. Obviously, it felt like that was an opportunity they could have definitely done a little bit more there, as opposed to just releasing on the Wii U eShop.
At some point, you got to stop milking the Zelda franchise.
Right, sure, but
2 HD remakes already on the Wii U. I'm glad that they showed a little bit of restraint.
Yeah, something with this is a bit off topic, and I apologize, but something that I noticed, especially with the 3DS, is if you count Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask as full remakes, if you count Triforce Heroes as sort of a side game, and A Link Between Worlds as sort of a reimagining instead of a new game, because it's not a remake, but it's more, to me, a reimagining. There's 4 or 5 different Zelda games on the 3DS, which is more than any other console, but there's no original traditional Zelda game on the console, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It like even A Link Between Worlds, which, like you said, it is more of a reimagining. It's definitely a lot more informed by A Link to the Past than, like a completely new sort of thing. Yeah, it's interesting and to be fair, I don't think we've really had a new Zelda game that has really broken new ground since Ocarina of Time, right?
Yeah.
Like they've changed the art style, they had some new stuff, but since then, and I think that even Aonuma has said as much, which is why they've been trying to really shake things up with Breath of the Wild, is because ever since Ocarina of Time, it's been okay. What we did with that, let's keep working with that model, right? And so it's it's really exciting to see that they're going to be doing something totally new and different.
Yeah. So again, sorry for getting off track there, but why don't you guys go ahead and let us know what games you all have been playing through, because I'm honestly pretty interested. I might get some ideas from you.
Yeah. So, Jesse, what have you been playing, man?
Okay, so I did get a little bit more time into the Picross 3D round 2. So I think I think the way the way that game's organized, they have puzzles in books, and I think there are a total of 40 books to finish the game, quote unquote. You finish the 40th book, credits roll, and then it unlocks more puzzles. So,
Wait, what?
So you because the puzzles through 40 get you into like the 250-ish area, and they boasted over 300 puzzles. So once you finish the game, then they'll give you more puzzles to say you're not done yet. So I've been working a little bit at that. I think I'm on book 37 now, so hopefully I'll be able to get to 40 soon. I've been playing that in between getting frustrated with bosses in Dragon Quest VII.
Oh, you've been playing. Wait, when did that come out? Have you been playing that for a while now, or is that new?
It's been 3 weeks already, almost.
Are you serious? How did I miss this? Anyway, how is it?
I like it, and it the first time I talked about it on the show, I think I was already 25 hours in, and now I'm 60.
Wow, dude.
I'm just between Picross and Dragon Quest VII, over 100 hours just in those two games. Plus, I still have Tokyo Mirage Sessions that I haven't completed yet. That's in the 65 hour range. So I've got a lot of big games here. So normally on a Dragon Quest boss, you're close enough to the nearest church that if you die, you just respawn at the church, heal yourself up, med up at an inn, and then you go again. Takes you less than 5 minutes before you're ready to fight again. But this boss where I'm at now, it's like a 10-minute walk to get from the church to where the boss is, unless there's a church in the middle that I'm missing. So it's really frustrating when I lose to that boss, because I'm like, I have another 10-minute walk just to get back there again. So I'm actually thinking I'm really getting close to the end game. I don't know if there is much of an end of the story after I save all the islands. Some of the things I'm hearing, some people are saying they're finishing the story in 65 hours. So I might be getting close to the end. I'm not sure. And I think it does open up an end game with random puzzles, similar to what they did in Dragon Quest IX with the online features that no longer exist. I think I talked about that last week or a few weeks ago. So there's definitely an after game to this after the story's over.
So do you feel like this game has lived up to your expectations as far as because I know you were looking forward to this game for a long time. Is it is it as good as you were hoping it to be, or is it kind of a disappointment, or like somewhere in between? I don't know.
No, it's actually it's really slow to start. Literally you'll go through the first 2 hours and you'll not fight anything. Because you go back and forth between the present and the past. In the present, there's very few monsters in the overworld. So
okay.
So you don't fight your first monster until you're in the past. So yeah. So maybe you weren't here the first week I talked about this. That's why it's new to you.
I don't think I was. Yeah.
So again, I'll try to do a quick overview. Game starts off with you're the only island in the world, and everyone around you is just satisfied in knowing that they are the only people on Earth. But you and a few of your friends are like, there's got to be more to this. So you end up finding this magic building that lets you collect the fragments, part of the subtitle. You collect the fragments to a tablet assemble them like a puzzle, and that warps you to a new island in the past where there's a problem that needs to be solved. You solve the problem and go back to the present, and now that island is in the present. So you go back to your home island, and everyone's like, "There's a new island! Oh my God, what's going on?" And you're like, "Yeah, no big deal," because you know exactly what's happening because you did it.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of back and forth. There's going into the past. So far the pattern is you find fragments to open up a new island. Go to the past, solve a problem, collecting more fragments as you go. When you're done, you go back to the present. Go back to that island in the present, collect some more fragments. Then you have enough fragments to open up a new island in the past, and then you repeat the pattern. And each island can range from being done in 30 minutes to maybe an hour and a half average. I think the longest one is in the 3 to 4 hour range. So they're relatively bite-sized pieces of the story that's just adding on to itself and adding on to itself. And so it's even though it started slow, once I got into that cycle, I didn't want to put the game down. I'm like, oh, one more island, sure. And then 2 hours later, okay, I finished that island. Just one more island.
Right. That's how they get you, man.
Yeah, so I think I've only got like 3 or 4 islands left.
Cool. Right on, man. Sounds pretty good. If I had any time for any sort of an RPG, yeah. Having said that, I just picked up an RPG this week, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Right on.
I'm
anything else?
quick
Sorry,
to say about that game. I'm a huge fan of time travel in games and movies. So from what you've said about this game, I'm definitely going to have to check it out.
I think my one favorite moment in a Dragon Quest game was Dragon Quest V. Have you played that? Okay, 5 starts off with you as a kid, and then you play the game as a kid, and then you grow up to be, your teenager age, your normal adventuring age, and there's a section in there where you go back in time and you interact with your younger self. I think that's my favorite part of that game.
It's awesome.
Because when you're younger, you go through this scene just as you're talking to this mysterious man. You don't know who he is. He just happens to be wearing the same colored cloak as you. And then you go back in the other way around. Now you are the older talking to your younger self to reliving that same interaction from the other character's point of view.
So at first you think that the older guy is just some NPC helping you out or something, but then once you end up going back to that point later on, you are that person helping out your younger self?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's why I like time travel stuff. Those weird, those paradox situations.
And that's all still within the first, I'd say, 10, 15 hours of the game. There's still much more than that. You ultimately, I think that's the game where you pick one of 3. I think 2 in the original game. The DS game added the third. One of 3 women to be your wife, and then you ultimately have a child, or I think twins, with this person. You and your wife get turned to stone. Then you continue the game as the third generation, as the second generation, continuing the game and trying to save their parents, and then they eventually do, and then you end up with like one big party of just multi-generations of you.
It's awesome.
Weird. That's weird.
So
I like it.
Yeah, so check that game out if you like that sort of thing.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you for the recommendation.
No
Right
problem.
on, man. Justin, are you back?
Yes, I am.
All right. So I think I've only really been playing one game this week. Well, I've been playing 2. I've been continuing to play Pokemon Go with the Pokemon Go Plus. If you haven't watched my review video of that on our YouTube channel, just go and doing that. If you want to play Pokemon Go without playing Pokemon Go, the Pokemon Go Plus is for you. Really, it should be the Pokemon Go Minus because you're actually paying it less. But anyway,
But you have
so
to pay more because you have to buy more storage. You have to buy more Pokeballs.
Yeah, so the plus is for more expensive, is what it is. Actually, no. I've found that I have at least one class that is within range of a Pokestop, and so I like literally just sit there and with the Pokemon Go Plus, I'll just sit there and every 5 minutes it will vibrate and I'll push the button and so it's just like tons of Pokeballs and I'm not running out anymore. But yeah, so that's that. The other thing I've been doing is I think it was 2 days ago. I was looking at some of the stuff for Yokai Watch 2, and I was like, oh man, that looks pretty good, and I'm thinking about it, and then I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna go buy it. So I went, and I know that Nintendo actually sent us a copy, Justin, and so you're playing it too. I think we're playing the same version too.
We are. Yeah.
Because, and by the way, I noticed I went to EB Games, and they have Bony Spirits or Fleshy Souls, and I was like, I want Bony Spirits because that, it's like skeleton theme or whatever, and it seems kind of cool. And I bought the last copy, and they probably had 10 more copies of Fleshy Spirit or Fleshy Souls. So not a lot of people wanting to be fleshy, more bony. So take that for what it's worth. Is that if you are the cool person if you are bony and not fleshy. So, yeah. I don't know what that says about. I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of psychoanalysis that could be going on there, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Having said that, yeah, basically, I don't know, Justin. What are your impressions? You're a little bit farther than I am in it.
Yep.
And here's the. I actually have this. I have this queued up. Where are we? Can you hear it?
Yep. It's good.
All right. Anyways, I'm not actually going to do any more than that. How do you feel about the game?
So this was a game, Yokai Watch. The first one came out a year ago. We all I think we played the demo for like 10 minutes and we were like, we're out of this. We pass. We don't have anything to do with it. It was, I don't know if we were maybe just not in the right mood set for this. Good friend of the show.
Demo sucked.
The demo might have sucked. Okay.
The demo from before was terrible.
Okay.
Then again, the demo from this one wasn't that much better. But I think that the goodwill has finally arrived for Yokai Watch.
Right.
Anyways.
And then a good friend of our show, Marty Estes from Reactor Radio, really praised this game actually. So when this came around, I was like, okay, let's give this a go. I will actually say that I am pleasantly surprised by this game. I am actually having a fun time playing it. I've been playing it. There are 3 kind of profile spots. I have my own, and the girls have each their own. They're playing along with it in their own profiles. I'm really enjoying it. Actually, I find it very whimsical and very fun. Colors and sound.
More than I expected.
Sorry.
It made me laugh more than I expected so far.
It does, yeah. It has a really good sense of humor. It's very cartoon, Saturday morning kind of humor. I think the dialogue between the main character and then Whisper and then Jabanye, I think is the.
Jabanyan, yeah.
Jabanyan is quite funny. The good dialogue, and even some of the yokai they find are quite funny.
Yeah, I was saying before the show, Swelton is awesome. Yeah. He's like this yokai who, and I love. I mean, I know we're like a year behind on this, but just the concept that like, oh, there's this weird little yokai ghost being who is responsible for just weird crap that happens to you, right? And or like weird sort of quirks that people have. So like Swelton is basically just this big fat dude who's super sweaty, and anytime people just get super sweaty, then it's because Swelton is around, and just like it's so weird that it's really endearing, and I really like it. So
yeah, it kind of attributes any kind of weird action or unlucky stuff or circumstances that are outside the norm to a yokai, which is quite funny, and there's some very creative methodologies that go to that as well. But I do find the interaction is very fun. It's a game, I think, a little bit as we were talking about before, it kind of felt like just a little bit further. I'll just go to the next level. Let's go to the next little bit. I'll do the next little mission. And I find that really addictive, actually. Like, I find myself just really easily losing time in it. The thing I really like...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The thing I really like about it or attribute it to is it's kind of like, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way, it's kind of like your kid's first RPG. because they do a really great job of setting up missions. And you basically go and you bump into someone. They're like, hey, do you want to do this? You can set an objective, and then literally on the map, there is your waypoint that you have to get to. Yeah. And it shows you running to, and you just kind of run to that waypoint. You get there, you talk to the person. There's probably a yokai there. You got to figure it out. You got to do a little bit of problem solving, using your stylus to find the area and your watch to identify it, and then you begin your battle. And the battles aren't too difficult, but you have the ability to spin and change out your people. You can let it do automatically, or you can actually do it yourself. So it's a lot of like how interactive you want to be with it. So I found that really interesting, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think the girls are having success with it. About why my daughters are having an easier time is it's kind of like go to the arrow, find the mission, do it. So that's been really great so far. Zach, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say as well, like it's very linear, but it also feels like maybe I'm just not to the point yet. And I know even in the trailer, and in like the Nintendo Direct, they were saying, "Oh yeah, you go back in time," and I haven't gotten there yet, and I'm 2.5 hours in. So I don't know how long it goes until you end up going back in time. But it's interesting. My one thing that I'm kind of struggling with is coming from a very heavy Pokemon background. I'm having a hard time understanding. Like, I know that the evolution exists in this game. I know that you can catch additional yokai. The only one that I've caught that has not been part of the main storyline was one that's called, what's its name? It's like a skull-faced one. Dang it. Drabella? I don't know. Anyway, so like it's like do you know what I'm talking about, Justin? Do you have the skull-face umbrella one?
Skull-face umbrella, no.
It is.
Oh yeah, I think I do.
Dazabel.
Yep.
Yeah. And which she's there for people who she possesses people who then makes them like have crappy fashion sense or something, which is hilarious. But yeah, like I'm not sure how to actually convince other yokai to join me. And it says, oh, we'll give them candy or give them that during the battle. And it's like, okay, well I do that and then I kill them and then they're gone. It's like, oh, well, I don't know. That is a little bit opaque still. Like I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do there, but it's fun. It's really fun. And I do like the like you were saying, Justin, the sort of like the story structure, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like there's actual chapters, and a chapter takes about an hour to play. Right. And I like that. I like that it's kind of like, oh, it's like an episode of the show. That's cool.
Yep.
So
the other thing I found was really cool, and is there's some meaningful teaching points within the game, especially for kids. So your character is a kid, right? And you're running around. So I got to get to my waypoint, and you're in a city. So there's cars, there's road crossings, and like I basically ran across the road once, and my whisper, my butler kind of is like, whoa, FYI, you should definitely look before you cross the street. Slow down. You don't want to be hit by a car. Just FYI, don't want bad things to happen to you. And you're like, okay, thanks. Good tip. Appreciate that. And then I'm like running around later, and I run across the street again, and I like instantly run into a boss, and I battle, and the boss destroys me. Kills all my yokai. And Whisper comes back. He's like, I told you should look. You should told you not to run across the street. Bad things would happen. And I was like, well played. Like, so I'm finding myself in the game running from place to place. Like I'm at a sidewalk. I'm literally looking for the walk sign and then walking across and then running the rest of the way. So I find that interesting. One of the challenges I would say about the game that I'm finding already is it's a lot of like your mission or your objective is now in the town over. So it's like a lot of like run all the way over there, do the mission. Oh, now I've got to run all the way back. So there's no like quick access to point. Like it's very kind of you doing a lot of the traveling. But I find a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. The kids are enjoying it. I think it's a good primer for RPGs for younger kids. Very comical, very funny. And actually, I talked to the kids later. A couple days after we got it, I had to go downstairs. I'm like, hey, kids, if you want to watch some Netflix for a couple minutes while I do something, go ahead. And I come back. I was like, oh, what'd you guys watch? They're like, oh, we watched Yokai Watch. I was like, uh-oh. Like we're going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. An ad just started playing. That was weird. Yeah. No, it's good. And it's funny because I bought this game and I'm like, I told Hillary, I was like, I need to make sure that I'm careful about how I let Nick know that I have this game.
Right.
Because I know he's very much like got sucked into Pokemon big time. But yeah, I actually, one of the biggest factors for me on whether or not I wanted to buy this was, does this have multiple save files? Right. And so I actually did buy a physical copy, and it has multiple save files specific. And that was part of the thing. It's like, okay, I can actually take it out and give it to Nick, and he can have his own save file and it won't delete mine or whatever. Right. I think that's something that Pokemon has never done. And I think that is a huge plus for Yokai Watch as well. So, and
I also like in Yokai Watch, you can essentially save whenever. And it saves you right there, the diary. And it's like, yep, there you go. It's an easy save. You don't have to find a checkpoint. You have to find a save station. Boom, you're done. And I think that's really, really great for on the go. I had to show Rylan that. She was like, oh, I'm like, oh, time's done. You got to go save. She's like, where do I do that? I was like, this button, you're done. She's like, oh, that was easy. I was like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely am looking forward to playing more of that game, too. It's pretty fun. So,
nice.
Yeah, right on. So, with that, is there anything else you've been playing, Justin, or is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, we kind of both did that one, but the one other game I've been playing is Paper Mario Color Splash for the Wii U. We were kind enough to get it is not out yet. No, it comes out on this Friday. We were kind enough to get a review copy of that game, and I've been playing it for a little bit now. So my first impressions, my hands-on with it for a short amount of time. Is I really like this game. This is so first, if I'm going off of high points, the art style is amazing. This whole paper look, cardboard aesthetic, they do that amazing.
Okay, compare it to Yoshi's Woolly World.
I think a little bit better than Yoshi's Woolly World.
What?
In my opinion, like I like the cardboard look a little bit more than the wool look, but still like right up to the par with that. Like okay. They do that textile look fantastic. So brilliantly done that way. The writing is probably some of the funniest dialogue writing I have ever seen in a game in a long time. There are literally times that I am laughing out loud on the couch reading these lines. It feels like each dialogue or each kind of it feels like people spent time really thinking about it. Really thinking about how to make something punchy. And it was like I had both the girls on the couch with me as we're playing it, and so I was like reading the dialogue boxes aloud to them, and I would like read it ahead, and I would laugh to myself. I was like, oh, that's really quite funny. And then they're like, what? I was like, give me a second. Okay, now I'm going to deliver the line. But it's just, I put a couple screenshots actually on our Twitter account as well. You can check that out. But just some like really, really, really well crafted dialogue. It's so fantastic. The gameplay I find is quite good actually. You're kind of your buttons are you jump. You have a stock hammer, and then you have like a paint hammer or a paintbrush hammer. The colors are just gorgeous and vibrant. The music is really quite good. The only conundrum that I kind of have at times, and again I'm not super far in it, so I can't say if it gets better or not, is actually sometimes the battle system. And I don't think the battle system is wrong or bad. I think it's just tedious at times. So when you encounter an enemy, you have your cards to play, and the cards show up on your gamepad. So you pick a card. It's like, oh, I'm going to jump. So you use your stylus and you slide this card up into this card spot, and it's like, do you want to use this card? Basically, like confirm yes. And then you're like, now I have to paint this card. So I have to hold down and paint the card that I'm going to use, so it turns a color, and it's like, card is painted, yes. Do you want to use card? Yes. So now you have to flick the card off this, like using your stylus off of the gamepad, and then that's what they use. So it feels like there's like 3 steps in there to like pick card, use card, where I'm like, I don't necessarily think that's needed. Like, I don't necessarily think I need to paint the card. Just, here are my cards. Do you want to use it? Yep, we're good. But once you get in that, it's it just it just feels a little bit awkward. But it doesn't take long to get past that. But once you get into the actual game, the fighting, it's really quite great. Good encounters, you're able to block. As you destroy enemies, paint is available, coin is available, card is available. It never feels like there is a lack of supplies that you need to kind of do your adventure. I never feel like I'm really foresting or trying to farm anything at this point, which I think is really great. You can increase the amount of paint that you have. That's kind of your experience, if you would. You have an HP and your experience. The best way I could categorize your experience is the amount of paint that you can have in your paint buckets to have access to. That grows, but yeah, it's just really brilliantly done. I was kind of like, I don't really know much about the Paper Mario series, but this is fantastic. This is so much fun. This is another game where I'm like, just one more level, just another a little bit further. I can keep going. The girls love playing it with me. They love sitting on the couch reading the dialogue. Easy for them to control. If you're looking for a game for the Wii U, you're like, I got nothing to play. You should check this out. This is really, I think, a fantastic game from Nintendo. The question a lot of people ask me, and I've got on Twitter and on the line chat, is this like Sticker Star? I didn't play Sticker Star, so I have no bearing. I am looking at this fresh from Paper Mario and what this is. This is a fantastic game. You cannot go wrong with this. I would definitely recommend this for you, for families, for kids. You'd have to couch co-op, essentially, kind of like Jesse, you were doing with Wind Waker. Yeah. But very easy to sit there with a family and like read the dialogue together and pass the controller around, which is what we did, and it was great.
Sweet.
Check it out.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think let's head into our community spotlight, shall we?
Yep.
What do we got here? We're like this.
Okay, I'm a squid.
Okay, that'll work. So Jesse, you of course are you are a YouTube personality. Is that a fair thing to say?
I don't quite think I would describe it as that. I know a lot of people, especially the people that watch my videos, sometimes refer to me as a YouTuber, but I just look at it as a Zelda fan that posts videos. So, however you want to take it.
Right on. So, why don't you tell us a little bit, just in a couple of minutes, people.
All right, Jack, you're getting crunchy. I don't know who's.
Yeah, you kind of glitched out there.
Okay, so let's try that. So why don't you tell people what you do online and where people can find what you're doing?
All right. On YouTube, I'm primarily making Zelda theories and Zelda or Nintendo-related discussion videos. And youtube.com/GameOverJesse is the easiest way to find those. I'm always collaborating with other YouTube people. Don't know if they want to be referred to as YouTubers or not, but I'm always having different guests on. Basically, each video has different people on it. And outside of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, basically any social media is just /GameOverJesse. So kind of universal, easy to find me if you guys want to check out some of my stuff.
Right on, man. Sweet. Very cool. Well, we appreciate you being on the show, and it's always awesome to have other people from the community out there, to join in on the conversation. So thanks for joining us, man. It's been good.
Thank you guys for the invite. Like I said, I'm honored, really grateful to be on. I'm just a huge fan of discussing different Nintendo-related topics, so something like this is something I've actually been wanting to do for a while, and our schedules finally lined up. So,
right on, man.
Very thankful.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Right on. So let's head into some quick listener mail, shall we?
Do it.
This is my favorite part of the show.
Nice.
All right, so I'm going to read this. It says, "Hey, and dads, my son has been loving all the Lego games that have been releasing on the Wii U. The second screen experience makes the multiplayer so much more enjoyable than the default dynamic camera, which is, of course, that thing, by the way, where it will like suddenly go into split screen mode if you separate from each other or whatever. Or anyways, or some of them do that, and some of them just kind of always keep them on the same one. Anyway, continuing on the email, he says." Sorry, go ahead.
I think it was like Indiana Jones that first started the dynamic camera thing.
Where it does do split screen if you get far enough apart.
Yeah, so the ones before that, I think primarily were the original Star Wars Lego games. Didn't do that. They just had to. I think it did something similar to Smash. It just the background zooms out a little bit and zooms back in as you get further apart. There is a limit to the distance that the two characters can be, but I did like how the dynamic works, and they can completely roam off in different directions, and the game still handles
it's a lot on the Wii U though, like where it's just each person has their own screen.
True.
Anyway, continuing on to with you, it says, "I noticed that Lego Star Wars Force Awakens is down to $30 here in the States. I've heard some great things about that game. Any experience with that title?" Justin, I think you got the 3DS version, right?
Yeah, I did. I got the 3DS version. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. Again, I mean, I'm coming from a perspective of being a really big Star Wars fan, so it kind of like played homage to all that stuff that I really, really enjoyed. I always find like when Lego does a game in a genre, whether it's Indiana Jones, Batman, I'm sure the Marvel one, and I presume the Marvel one, at least in Star Wars, they always do like a really good job with it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, but I mean, my experience on the 3DS may be different on the Wii U, obviously, but it was really solid. So yeah, that would be my experience with it.
Yeah, he says, how do you guys think it compares to the Nintendo Select's Lego City Underground title, newly priced at $20? Which would you recommend? So Underground, I think, is actually, I think it's probably Undercover is what he's talking about. But Lego City Undercover, I think it honestly, I haven't played either of them, but my guess would be, do you like Star Wars? Pick the Star Wars one.
Yeah, Undercover. Undercover was kind of like
Undercover though. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Undercover was kind of like Grand Theft Auto Lego style, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
I think that is single player only. I don't know if that has multiplayer, like most of the other Lego games do. So if multiplayer is a big thing, if you're playing with your son a lot, then I'd say go with the Star Wars. You know, I don't know how old your son is, so some of definitely the Lego Undercover game is kid friendly. It's a Lego game, but it does more complicated things with Lego than just smash and rebuild and keep brute forcing forward. So I'm not sure if your kid would like that as much. That might be a game you might like you know, kids asleep, now I have my own game to play. That might be good for just you. But if you want the 2-player experience, I'd say go with the Star Wars.
Yeah. Right on, man. Yeah, I think it really just comes down to the preference of, do you like the Star Wars bit or not. They are similar enough that is really the important factor, I think. Right on. And of course he says thanks for creating such great content. Have a great week, Jamie. So thank you, Jamie, for emailing us. It's always awesome to hear from our fans and listeners, and you guys are awesome. So keep those coming. Justin, finally, what do we got coming up, man? We've got another episode to record tonight, so let's get this.
Sure, yeah. So coming up, episode 100 will be on October 19th. For those of you that if you want to send in content for us to read on episode 100, maybe your favorite Nintendo Dads moment or anything you want, let us know. Send it to maybe just put in the subject episode 100, and we definitely want to share that content with you as well. So let's do that. Extra Life support. So we have got a group of individuals from the Nintendo Dads community who are going to be participating in Extra Life. That's going to be on November 5th. These people are from all around the world, actually. So if you want to join our community for Extra Life and be part of we actually have a group on Extra Life. So if you're going to do that, you can search us on the community Nintendo Dads. And Extra Life is all about raising funds for children's hospitals and helping out kids in need. So I think it's a pretty amazing opportunity. We're actually near our goal of $1,000 that our group has already raised almost. So we're really excited for that, and I think we're going to smash that goal. Big thanks to everyone in that community. As a reminder, our Retro Rewind, well, actually, this is a a reminder to some, for October is, and I guess maybe Jesse, you can give us your feedback on this, but the game that we're going to be playing in October is Zelda 2.
I'm looking forward to playing this again.
How about Game Over, Jesse? What do you think?
Zelda 2 is...
Oh, sorry, yeah. I got caught off guard that time.
It's a lot of people look at it as kind of the black sheep of the Zelda series, but if you're a fan of what you've seen in Breath of the Wild with some of the RPG elements and especially the jumping, those are pulled directly from Zelda 2. And if you're a fan of Dark Link, that's the very first time Dark Link appeared. So, I mean, it's a great game. It's a different type of Zelda game, but when it was made, there was only one other Zelda game for it to compare to, so it wasn't looked at, I guess, as too different at the time.
Right.
It was just
at the time there was no Zelda formula. That
Right.
really wasn't
It was just-
established until Link to the Past.
Right. So all of the Zelda that followed kind of took the original Zelda and worked on that instead of what they did in Zelda 2. So, I mean, because of that, like I said, it's kind of looked at as the black sheep of the Zelda family, but it's still a really great game. It was, I believe, Zelda 2 and Minish Cap were the two games on the eShop that I've been going back and playing whenever I find the free time. I've been kind of swapping back and forth between the two.
Nice.
So, great game.
Great, awesome. Well, we're very excited for October because that is our Retro Rewind game. So we're gonna dive into that. That'll actually be my first playthrough of it. I think I played it when I was really young, but actual trying to give it a good go. So yeah. Also, shout out or directions, or if I can, direct people to do something. I'm going to direct people, if you can, to head over to our YouTube channel. That's Nintendo Dads on YouTube, and take a moment and subscribe. We've got a lot of content that's going up there recently. We've done some unboxings of Paper Mario, Yokai Watch. I got some goodies recently from the Nintendo New York store. I opened those. We've got some interviews that are up there. We've got our new Nintendo News System shorts done by good friend of our show, Gary Gray. And we've got some Nintendo redubs where we redubbed some of the Breath of the Wild commercials and trailers. So check that out. So yeah, head over to YouTube and Nintendo Dads. Also, big shout out to Adam Leonard from Mega Dads for his awesome commission work, which we always appreciate. So yeah, check his stuff out. Zach, back to you.
Right on, man. Well, again, I also just want to point people towards the interview that we had with Jason Michael Paul from the Zelda Symphony. That is up there now, and very cool, interesting, candid conversation with him. If you haven't checked that out, that went up since our last episode, so that's
it went in, awesome. I think it hit the feed on Monday.
Yeah, right on. So that's
and go subscribe to Game Over Jesse's YouTube channel as well.
Yes, thank you.
That is incredible content being put over there, and passion about Zelda and Nintendo. So yeah, if you're gonna do something while you're on YouTube, please go subscribe to his stuff. It is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Right on. And of course, if you want to follow us as well on all the social medias, you can do that on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads. You can email us, nintendodads@gmail.com. Look us up on Twitch and YouTube. Nintendo Dads will find us there. And of course, if you want to leave us a voicemail, that's 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. If you want to buy Nintendo Dads merch, go over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store. And of course, big thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard from Mega Dads for their amazing artwork, as always. If you want to change the world, of course, head over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Written reviews are even better. They're the best. They're the best. They're going to be huge. I don't know. I'm not going there. But of course, that's how you get Nintendo Dads into everybody's ears, is to spread the word via reviews on all your favorite sites. I don't know. Tell your friends, peeps. Finally, if you wanna follow us and subscribe, you can do so on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course VGTribune.com. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and for Jesse, We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
All right.